Let's continue on some basic syntax. We're going to cover here conditional statements and loops. If you look at the graph, a conditional statement such as an if-else and elif are used to execute different blocks of code based on certain conditions, and you can use them together. So what you see in the example for number 5 is a conditional statement. We're first taking the variable number and assigning it 10. So we're putting 10 into memory. So if the number, which is 10, is greater than 0, then we're asking it to print the number as positive because that statement, the line of code, is true. How it works is it'll go sequentially down your code. So it'll first do the first if statement. If that is false, it won't print the number as positive. It'll go to the next elif statement or elif number, and it'll say elif number is smaller than 0. If the number was negative 10, it would print elif is smaller than 0, negative 10 is smaller than 0, so that's true. The first one is false, so it skips, and then it goes to the elif number, then it's true, and then it decides or prints on the screen the number is positive. If both the if number and the elif number are both false, that would have to be 0. So if number was equal to 0, the first one would be false, it will skip it. Elif number is false again, it skips it, and then else it has to be 0. So basically this example shows you can get pretty creative with elif, if, elif, and else, and you can make them quite long. It's a logic thing to make determinations or conditions within your code. And we're going to do an example in a little bit. Let's also talk about loops. Now, a loop can be a for loop and a while loop. There's two different types. Here we're going to just look at the for loop for now. They're used to execute a block of code repeatedly until a certain condition is met. So here's an example of a Python loop using a for loop construct. So fruit is equal to apple, banana, cherry, and date. So each, the variable is fruits with an S. And we usually put S when there's multiple items in a list. This list has apple, banana, cherry, and date. Each of those words is put into memory, and that's in position, apple is in position 0, banana is in position 1, cherry is in position 2, and date is in position 3. So we always start the index position. Apple is 0, banana is 1, cherry is 2, and date is going to be 3. But there are 4 items in the list, but we always start counting at 0 using an index. We'll talk about that later. So the next thing, I have a note. You have the # iterate over each fruit in that list. For fruit, so this is a for loop, for fruit in fruits, and then a colon. It's always followed by a colon. And then you say print the variable, and the variable name is fruits, and you have to put it in round brackets, parentheses. So round brackets around the word fruits. So it says fruit, for fruit in fruits, and we're saying print fruit, not plural. So let's look at both of these in the code. I'm going to switch screens and go to Jupyter Notebook. So now that we're in Jupyter Notebooks, we're going to do this example. The variable is number, lowercase. The value is 10. If, elif, else. So we're looking for one of these statements to be true. As soon as it's true, it will execute the command, which is print whatever is in the parentheses. So let's hit run. And it says the number is positive. It's because this first statement was true. So let's make this first statement false by putting a minus sign in front of the number. And let's hit run. So elif number minus 10 is less than 0 will be true. So it should print this is going to be false, so it won't print this. This is going to be true, so it'll print the number is negative. And sure enough, it prints the number as negative. What if it's not greater than or less than 0 and it is 0? That's going to fall in the else category because 0 is not greater than 0 and 0 is not smaller than 0. So that's everything else or other, which is what an else statement does. So now it should print the number as negative because this one is false, false, true. Number is 0. So now I just pasted in the next example, and you see the blue bar here. A kernel is open. So if we hit run, it'll execute that code. And what it does, there's a lot going on, but it's not that complicated. Fruits with an S, and this is just a descriptive variable lowercase. We're going to talk about indexes shortly, but an index, this is position, the first position is 0, then second position is 1, third position is 2, and the fourth position is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3 in the index. There's 4 items, but it's always count starts at 0 for the computer. Iterate over each fruit, and notice that even in the comment, fruit is singular, the list is plural. So when the for loop, we say for fruit, singular, in fruits, plural. We do this because it keeps ourselves organized and makes us humans understand what's going on. The computer looks at variables as variables. It doesn't care if they're plural or singular, but we write it this way. It's just a neat way to write code. So let's just do something, give you an example. If we said this is X, so for this list, for fruit in X, let's see if that works. It still works. So the variable, we just changed the variable. The computer doesn't know whether there's plural or singular. The only reason we do that is because it's kind of more organized and more descriptive. So when somebody else looks at your code after you're done, if you make the code descriptive, it's much easier to understand what's going on and keeps things organized. So let's change a few things. Let's put, like to take date and change to cherry. So we should expect to see apple, banana, cherry, cherry. So let's hit run. And sure enough, we do. So in a list, you can't have 2 items exactly the same. Let's take one letter off and just call it roots and hit, see it says apple, banana, cherry, cherry. So if we say that, and we'll change this to berry, will this work? This won't work because we already stored in memory fruit and fruits. So it's looking for what it was previously called fruits. This is roots. So nothing down here is saying print roots. So, or we're not doing the for loop through roots. So basically nothing will happen. It'll print exactly what's kept stored in memory. So this is actually stored in roots. So if we put the F back, and now we should see that change to berry, because now we're overwriting what was in fruits and we're putting berry there. So cherry berry, apple, banana, cherry berry. So that gives you an example of a for loop, and it's just going to iterate, meaning it'll read and print each one in the order that it's in the list. Thanks for watching today. Did you know the average salary of a Python developer is over $100,000 in the United States and is increasing every single year? Please post in the comments why you want to learn Python. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to try out our training website, which has 12 curated classes that will progressively build your Python programming skills, click the 12-week training challenge website below the video here. We also have a free 14-day trial for beginners serious about learning Python. Also available for free are Class 1 slides and Class 1 multiple choice questions to test yourself after finishing Class 1. Look for the blue subscribe button at the bottom of the web page before downloading. If you want to make sure you keep getting videos we post every single week, click on the blue teacher on the left so the YouTube algorithm will recommend them to you. To continue watching the next video in this series, please click the links just below. Also below the video are my recommended hardware essentials for serious Python developers. Please note, as an Amazon associate, I earn qualifying purchases which help support the channel. Keep in touch and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Love you all.